Hi everybody, coming to you again from the comfortable confines of the historic narthex of Visitation Parish. I think we missed a video visitation last week. Those of you who might have gone looking for it and didn't find it, I apologize, but we just kind of decided on the spur of the moment to give ourselves a week off. But we're back now. Well, I'll tell you, I got a couple of phone calls in the last week from a young priest of our diocese. And he kind of made me feel guilty. I don't think he meant to, but he did. He wanted to know what I had been doing to recruit young men to come to a series of presentations on the priesthood. You know, what have I been doing to recruit seminarians here in the diocese? And I felt guilty about that because, you know, I haven't done anything. I haven't done a darn thing. I don't think very many priests do, frankly. Who considers seminary and priesthood these days? It's not getting very much buzz at Visitation, and you know, I'll take a big part of the blame for that. I surely will. I would like to sell the priesthood to available young men in the parish. I really would. So why don't I? Well, it's because I hardly know how to do it. There are some people who will attempt to stir interest in the priesthood by pitching it in the colors of privilege or even pleasure. They'll talk about the priesthood as though there is something consistently enjoyable about it. I can't do that because, at least for me, it would be too much like some super slick salesman in a plaid suit trying to sell an ignorant young person a car they can't afford, or an old one not worth their money. And yet, the priesthood is important. Despite the Catholic Church's plain myopias and sins, the priesthood is important. Despite the counterproductive ways the priesthood is articulated in the Western world today, the priesthood is important. And to explain its importance, I'll paraphrase the Apostle Paul. How can we believe in the gospel unless one hears of the gospel? But how can one hear of the gospel unless someone preaches the gospel? And how can someone preach the gospel unless they are sent to preach the gospel? And how can one be sent to preach the gospel unless communities like ours discern who to send, how to send, why to send? The Church, even the Roman Catholic Church, lives and dies by the work of so many different men and women doing so many different things. But it is the priest who, in many ways, draws the diverse pieces of the church into a degree of cohesion. The priest is called to give his time, his energy, his body, his whole life for the tender organism we are privileged to call the body of Christ. It is a massive commitment. The stakes are massive, and the potential is also massive. Like marriage, the priesthood is daunting work. Like marriage, it is a lifestyle guaranteed to change you. Like marriage, it will variously tear, singe, grind, and polish off your rough edges. Therefore, like marriage, the priesthood is not infrequently painful. But like marriage, the priest is first and foremost about love. And of course, true love is not easy. Often, it is not fun. But also, like marriage, the priesthood can be a powerful catalyst toward personal wisdom even as it is fundamentally directed at other people and for other people. And like marriage, the priesthood is countercultural. Although, unlike marriage, the priesthood is unnatural, and therefore, in some important ways, maybe even more difficult than marriage itself. Ultimately, the priesthood amounts to a kind of protracted and sad charade, unless Jesus Christ animates it. Young men, if in your gut you sense that nothing in life or death is more important than the Lordship of Jesus Christ and the saving grace that comes to us from Jesus Christ, then the priesthood is a way of life that you should at least consider. If you sense that the fullness of truth subsists in the Catholic Church, the wildly imperfect Catholic Church, then you really should consider the priesthood. And if you consider the priesthood, call me. I will be very pleased to hear you out and direct you to people who can help you take the next step in a long road toward seeing the light of Christ and toward showing the light of Christ in the midst of a very broken and unbelieving world. So the priesthood's a serious topic and a complicated one, and for those reasons, I don't give myself very high marks in pitching it, but it's important to pitch. And before I leave the subject altogether, I want to mention one thing. Every year now, for a lot of years, our diocese and our neighboring diocese of Kansas City, Kansas, have been hosting called the Support Our Seminarians Dinner. I think that the one coming up is going to be the end of the line. I'm not sure why, but they're pulling the curtain on SOS dinners. I suppose they'll come up with something new. But the last one is this year, and it's also virtual. I'm going to read the announcement the Support Our Seminarians people have sent me and ask you to please take it to heart. Even if you don't consider the priesthood for yourself or for your family, would you at least do what you can to further it for the sake of the rest of the church? And so they say, we need your help to make this year's Support Our Seminarians event the best one yet. This will be our final SOS event, and sadly, due to the pandemic, we won't be able to gather in person. We will be gathering virtually. We need your help to make this final Support Our Seminarians event our most successful ever. And you can support our seminarians and the future of the church by making a donation, purchasing raffle tickets, praying for vocations, and joining us online at 6:30 p.m. on Friday, January 29th, 2021, for the final SOS event. To donate or purchase raffle tickets, well, it gives an email address, www.supportourseminarians.com, or contact Martha Hodis at 913-207-9893. We hope you'll join us in supporting our seminarians and vocations to the priesthood. I've been asked to make a comment about the wonderful young people who have helped us out in the pandemic as altar servers. There are not very many of them. And while I try to thank them after every Mass for their wonderful work, I would like to raise the attention of all the parish toward the work these young men and women do for us. So since the pandemic began, and I hope and pray I'm not missing any names, but we remember Lainey Teachin, Solana Munjak Kuri, Ivan Burns, Mary Myers, Cal Hughes, Daniel and Dennis Colombo, and Annie Keenan. These young people have been especially energetic about supporting our liturgies as servers, and I want them to know, and you all to know, I appreciate it very much. Okay, the last thing that I want to mention to you is about Eucharistic adoration. Eucharistic adoration all over the diocese was suspended way back in March, I guess, by order of Bishop Johnston, and it remains that way. Nonetheless, Billy Hodis, that's the second time the Hodis name has been raised in this presentation, a very faithful family, and I'm grateful for them too. But Billy Hodis called and said, hey, you know, we've got this big chapel to do adoration in. It doesn't draw that many people to offend social protocols anyway. Why can't we start it again? I told Billy I can't without the bishop's permission, but I'll ask him. So I did, and he gave it. So the bishop has extended permission for our parish to begin Eucharistic adoration again. And we have begun it as of today, as of this day. So if you're interested in adoration, it's always on Wednesday from about 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Please register for that. As I say, Billy Hodis is the person in charge of coordinating it. I'm not very sure how to get a hold of him, but I'll bet if you call the office, they can help you out. Okay, I think that's everything I've got, Megan. Can you think of anything else?
You might just mention the Stations of the Cross for victims of human trafficking next Monday, the 11th.
Right. If you didn't hear that, Karen Miller and her
Social Concerns Committee.
Yeah, her ministry group and the Social Concerns Committee are going to be putting together a Stations of the Cross service, particularly reflecting the enormous tragedy of human trafficking. You know, Kansas City is one of the hot spots in the United States for human trafficking, I guess because after Chicago, we are the principal rail center in the United States, and so many highways also intersect here in the heart of America. So it's a real problem in our community. So this Stations of the Cross event will be led by 14 different people from our community, and we can access it next Monday night, right?
All day next Monday on YouTube, Facebook, or our website.
All day next Monday, okay, on YouTube, Facebook, or the parish website. Okay, thank you for that. I think that's everything we've got for you this week. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and until next Wednesday, goodbye, and God bless.